quiet place in the house. Hey there, my name is Matthew. This is Devlog.1 of a project that I'm doing called CHEVALIER, or codenamed CHEVALIER, which is a game, an immersive stealth action game in homage to Dishonored, Gloomwood, Fallen Aces, and stuff in that vein. In the previous devlog, I talked about the player character and some functionality that I built. And today, we're going to be talking a little bit about combat and NPCs. So I'm just going to quickly hop into Unreal. Just as a quick refresher, we have a simple player controller who can interact with stuff, with items, and miscellaneous objects. He can attack, and there is a stealth system where when you are standing in enough shadow, your character becomes invisible to the game. So, now we're going to talk about this guy, and this is the generic guard character that I've built. So that I don't bury the lead, I kind of want to take a quick look at what he does and can do. So, from our safe observation point, we can see, goodness, he's nearly invisible over there because of the fog. We can see that this character has a patrol, and I can set this patrol dynamically. And if he hears a noise, he is going to come over and take a quick look. And because he doesn't see anything, he's going to just go back to what he was doing. That sound response can also be triggered by footsteps. So by getting out of the crouch position and standing up, I've kind of induced him to take a look at where I am. And with thrown crates, like the one that you saw me interacting with earlier. Now, if he does see me,
help! I see him!
He goes into the hostile mode, and he saw me there because I was standing up and I was out of shadow. And so, he has a basic AI functionality for combat where, simply put, he runs up to me and uses some attacks. And these attacks can be blocked, and they can be parried if I time them right. There we go. That's what a parry looks like. Let's see. I can also apply damage to the character. He's not a great fighter. But because the damage system is genericized right now, both his attacks and my attacks both do 5 damage. And so he will come after me, but if I can break the line of sight, I can hop back into the shadows. And once I can make my character invisible again, he begins a search routine, wherein he looks nearby. And he does that a few times. And when he's failed, he'll put his sword away, and he will return to whatever he was doing before. Which is no problem for me.
Help! I see him!
So let's see if we can finish this guy off, and then I'll talk about this in a little bit more detail. So yeah, so if all you wanted to see was an NPC kind of reacting to the player, getting fought and searching around, then here it is. If you are interested in getting into the meat and potatoes of it, then that's what we will do now. So the patrol is basically governed by these little green spots, and each enemy AI that I might choose to drop into the game world can be assigned these different patrol points, which can be rotated to choose a orientation for the enemy to take. And with this way, it's pretty easy to drop in new NPCs and give them, guard rotations. It's not really a rocket science. And the peaceful character behavior is as simple as that. He will go back and forth in between these three nodes indefinitely. He has two senses right now. He can hear and he can see. The hearing is simple. It's basically you can attach a script that says report event to any code that you put in the game, and so right now I've attached it to sword strikes hitting stuff and footsteps when your character is uncrouched. And when that happens, the enemy enters a simple investigation state, which basically means that he will come towards the source of the sound, he will play a searching animation, and then he will return to what he's done. The character's sight is a little bit more complicated, so it kind of takes into account a few different things. If the character is close enough, it will check whether or not we are in his line of sight, and if it fills up all the way, he will become hostile.
Help! I see him!
And so, simply put, how does that work? Now, I have the three different assets which make up the NPC right here. So I have the NPC himself, the AI controller, which controls how the enemy moves and behaves, and this behavior tree, which has a bunch of modular behaviors that the enemy can use, depending on variables that are set here. So, simply put, how seeing works is that while Unreal does have a built-in sight component, I opted to make a big fat vision cone and slam it to the front of the enemy's head. And I'm going to disconnect his brain so that I can demonstrate how it works really quickly. When the player is inside the cone, it starts a ticker. And this ticker, basically, every few moments, it does one of these line traces in between the player and the enemy. And if it doesn't hit anything, it means that the enemy can see the player. And so it does a test, basically determining what the stealth level is, which is set by the shadow system that we discussed earlier. So even though I'm in the vision cone and there's nothing occluding me, so there's like this unbroken line trace, because my character is in the shadow, the enemy cannot see me.
Help! I see him!
And once the stealth factor is high enough, he will go into combat, which he is not doing right now because I detached the brain. So this actually controls the player's behaviors or the enemy's behaviors, where he walks, if he plays animations, and so on and so on and so on. So each enemy character that I might put on the map has all of these same functions. And this means that I can duplicate these guys with lightly randomized textures, assign him different guard patrols, and that in essence could be the bare bones of a level, which I will talk about a little bit later.
Help! I see him!
But this took a little bit of work, just kind of trying to get all these behaviors into place. And there is still plenty that needs to be done. When you still have the vision cone, it really freaks out. It's a very... ouch. Let's see. For instance, some things to consider. The enemy's damage system and the player's damage system use the same script, which means that there is a flat variable which controls how the damage is calculated. So everything does 5 damage right now. And I would kind of like to be able to version that depending on what weapon is being used, and he died. And, you know, whether you're sneaking up on an enemy or, you know, whether your character's gotten upgrades. But these are actually pretty easy scripts to kind of add to this basic functionality. Right now, the enemy only responds to... Oh, yes, right now the enemy only responds to simple sword damage and other kind of melee damage sources, but I think it could be made more interesting by introducing other elements, whether that be fire or something entirely different. You could kind of, attach damage modifiers to the enemy's, whatchamacallit, when he's staggered like that right after a parry, and so on. So I think that there is a lot that can still be done, a lot that can be extended on, but I think that this is a very strong foundation for what I'm interested in doing. I just eluded the enemy, so he's kind of on a protracted search routine where he's going to keep on looking for me. And he looked for a while, and he can't seem to find me, so he's going to return to whatever he was doing before. So, in any case, that was what I wanted to show you. I hope that you get a kick out of that. The next time I do one of these, I'm going to be talking about, I guess, a little bit of some story concepts I've had, and also my kind of flailing approaches at level design, because right now we are just looking at a testing environment, but I have built larger spaces that are not at all satisfactory. But anyways, this is Devlog.1. I hope that you had a nice time watching it, and maybe depending on how things go, I spend a little bit more time doing these a little bit more producedly. But right now, I'm just kind of having fun live streaming what I've got. Anyways, have a beautiful day.